Hey, this is Walt from StogieReview.com here with another Stogie Review video review. And this week it's sort of unexpected. I didn't know whether I was going to do a review or not. And as you can probably tell from my voice, I'm just getting over a cold. So I thought I would do a short Ash's review on something that I've smoked a number of times before, and something that I'm comfortable with, and maybe something that I can still enjoy regardless of being mildly congested. I can still breathe fine and all that. There's just like a little bit of nastiness up in the sinuses, which really isn't causing any breathing problems or any tasting problems. It's just sort of, it's a little bit of a nasally annoying kind of a thing going on. So with that said, you're gonna have to bear with me as I smoke this cigar while having a little bit of a residual cold going on. And excuse me, now all of a sudden I've got to clear my throat constantly. The cigar that I'll be doing is the Ashton VSG, and as I said, I've smoked these on a number of occasions. This particular one is the last one I have, I think, and this one came courtesy of Aaron Boyd, Big A Boyd from Twitter. He's also on the Stogie Review fan forums, I believe, and he sent me this cigar quite a while ago, several months ago, and they came along with the Epernay that I reviewed back around Christmas time, or actually right around the first of the year. And he also sent me some Opus, which I'll eventually get to. But he was kind enough to send me 3 of all of those cigars, and this is the last of the VSGs that he sent me. So I'm going to go ahead and light it up, and we'll go from there. First and foremost, actually before I light it up, we'll just take a quick look at it. The cigar looks a little rough. There's a little bit of color variation, several they're small veins, but they're very apparent. When you handle it, you really can't see it, but they really stand out on the wrapper leaf. Aside from that, it looks nice and clean. The cap is neatly applied. The band is beautiful, and I'm seeing no damage. I'm seeing a little bit of an indentation here, but that's probably from leaving it in the bag and just stuffing it in my cooler. So let's go ahead and get this thing started, and then we'll go from there. The pre-light draw's got a little bit of a fruity flavor to it. It's got just a little bit of stiffness, but it's probably because I didn't quite cut deep enough. And the last bit of tobacco, which is kind of tucked over, and then the cap is applied, I could still see some of it. Actually, can still see a little bit of it, but I don't want to cut too deep. The draw is marginally better. But we're going to go ahead and get this thing started and get this video underway. So sit tight as I light my cigar. You don't necessarily need to see me do it. And then I'll be back. We'll take a look at the first third of my Ashton VSG, and we'll go from there. We'll see just how much of an effect this residual cold has, and if I can still manage to enjoy the cigar. Alright, well, I'm back. It's been a few minutes, and I'm a little bit into my Ashton VSG. And as you can see, ash is nice and light. It's holding a nice shape. I'm getting just a little bit of flaking, you know, the random piece of ash floating off here and there, but it's been pretty good, fairly solid. Actually took very little effort to knock the ash off the end of it. I was starting to get kind of worried. The ring gauge is fairly small, and it just looked sort of powdery, and I thought maybe it would drop off. It had a nice compacted shape, but a gentle tap knocked it right off, so it didn't seem very strong. As far as the flavors go, it's kind of strange. This is the first day that I've had a cigar in about a week. As I mentioned earlier, I'm at the tail end of a cold. It's Friday. I went to my local cigar shop. First cigar I lit up was a Churchill-sized Oliva Connecticut Reserve. Smoked beautifully, tasted, you know, dead on what I remember those cigars tasting like. So it wasn't like the tail end of this cold was causing any sort of funky flavors to go on. Cigar tasted good. I really enjoyed it. After that, I smoked a Cane 6x60 Habano, just monster thing, and like usual, I thought it had lots of power and very little flavor, so there really wasn't anything to gauge that cigar on, because I'm not a big fan of that cigar. I smoked it because it was handed to me, it was gifted to me right then and there, and I thought, you know, might as well light it up and smoke it. So it's been a few hours, I've been home. I decided to grab a little glass of bourbon and light up a cigar because I had a hellish day. And I wanted to grab one that I knew I was going to enjoy, and so far the cigar is enjoyable, but it is hitting me sort of in the back of the throat. I'm getting just a touch of harshness that I don't recall getting out of the other sizes. This smaller size is the first time I've had it. The ones that Aaron sent me were the first of this particular size that I've smoked. All the others have been the larger, sort of like Panatella sizes. So unlike those larger sizes, I'm getting just a little bit of a tinge in the back of the throat. The flavor is really interesting though. I'm getting sort of like a woody flavor and an interesting sort of clove kind of flavor out of it. Not, you know, like those weird clove cigarettes, but like my mom used to make these hams and stick those little cloves all over the things, and that's what it reminds me of. That, not the ham, but the little cloves that go in the ham. That's sort of the flavors that I'm getting out of it. Through the sinuses, it's nice and easy. I'm not getting any burning sensation, even though this is, you know, again, it's been a week since I've had a cigar. You know, besides the ones earlier, but I'm not getting like an overly taxed sort of feeling through my sinuses. There's no burning, there's no uncomfortable sensation, so it's fairly smooth through the sinuses. Medium bodied, medium flavored. I'm not enjoying this one as much as I enjoyed the larger sizes, but I've still got a lot of cigar to go yet. And it seems to be burning pretty well. Aside from that sort of powdery ash, I've got no complaints about it. Construction, smoking wise, you know, the only issue being that minor sort of irritation in the back of the throat. But really, it's nothing a little bit of bourbon can't take care of. So I'm going to try to enjoy a little bit of my, a little bit more of my Ashton VSG. I'm going to take another quick break. I'll be back. We'll take a look at the second third. You know, maybe we'll do that second third and call it quits, or maybe I'll smoke a little further. I don't know. We're winging it this time. So sit tight. I'll be back. I may be back again after that, but we'll see. So sit tight. Hey, this is Walt. Obviously, you know that. Why am I leading into the video again? At any rate, I'm back, and I'm a little more than halfway through my Ashton VSG, and as far as construction and burn rate and all that goes, the cigar's on par with where it was earlier on. The ash is has sort of a powdery texture. It doesn't hold on really long. Half inch, 3/4 of an inch. A gentle tap over the ashtray knocks the ash off and tumbling. The draw has a little bit of stiffness to it, but I really don't mind. I'm getting an ample amount of smoke. It's nice and dense, easy to get through the sinuses, and again, like before, through the sinuses, it's nice and smooth. There's no stinging sensation or that burning sensation that makes your eyes water sometimes. In this case, it's nice and easy going. The body is medium to full. It's progressed a little bit, but not enough to push it into what I would consider full. I mean, there is some mouthfeel to it. It's got a definite bit of body, but it's not. I guess what comes to mind is how full-bodied cigars are classified now. You know, a couple of years ago, a full-bodied cigar was something like some of the Punchline, a lot of Camacho product, the El Rey del Mundos were sort of medium to full, and now I think of those cigars as sort of medium at like I don't know, like middle of the road medium. And you know, now you've got something like the Canes and the LX2s, and you know, you've got those really full-bodied cigars that sort of reclassify the body, you know, the body spectrum. As some of these new ramped up cigars come out, things sort of get shuffled around, and by those standards, this is probably medium. You know, medium, maybe medium to full. Again, as far as mouthfeel is concerned. In the flavor department, I'm not getting much of that clove flavor anymore, but I am getting a rich sort of savory flavor, and a little bit of a leathery sort of flavor, and a bit of spice to the sinuses. really enjoying it. It's going well, but it is still hitting me in the throat a little bit. That they've got just a little bit of a twinge going on. But aside from that, really no complaints about the cigar. It's not quite as good as I expected it to be. I think I like the larger VSGs more. But again, I still have about half a cigar to smoke, so that could all change by the time I reach the band. It could get super rich and just become so much better than what I can recall from the VSGs. I haven't... Actually, the last one I had was probably in my hotel room at IPCPR. Actually, I think I ended the night with one of these very same sized Ashton VSGs after a night in the town. But so far so good. So sit tight. I'll be back. We'll do probably one more time, and then let you be on your way. So sit tight. All right. Well, I'm back, and it's about time to wrap up my Ashton VSG. It's been a little bit more than an hour now, and it's been a great way to sort of just unwind. And I really enjoyed the cigar overall. As you can see, the ash is still nice and light in color. I've got a little bit of waviness going on. That little bit of a chip in the wrapper leaf was just some minor damage when I popped the band off. The burn line is a little wavy, but I think I just said that. The ash still has sort of a powdery texture to it, so it doesn't develop real long, and any exaggerated hand gestures just happen to be enough to knock the ash off once it gets ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch long. So I'm deliberately keeping it toward the ashtray, and as it develops, it's really no effort just to tap the cigar and the ash comes falling off. The progression of the body was really all in the second half. I didn't see any build-up later on in the cigar. It's still medium, maybe medium to full. Nice bit of mouthfeel to it. The draw still has a little bit of stiffness, but the smoke's not warming up. You know, it doesn't have that hot texture to it. The cigar is still cool in the fingers, but then again, wait till it gets a little bit shorter than this, and that'll be the real test. The smoke that I am getting from the cigar is nice and dense, easy to get through the sinuses, nice and smooth through the sinuses, and the flavor hasn't changed up a whole lot in this last segment of the cigar either. I'm still getting a nice leathery sort of flavor to it. That savory component that I was getting earlier has diminished a little bit, getting, you know, more of those leathery tones and a little bit of spice through the sinus. Even though there wasn't a whole lot of change as far as the flavor goes, the cigar seemed to pick up more richness. The flavors just seemed to develop more character as the cigar grew shorter. So all in all, I definitely enjoyed the smaller sized Ashton VSG, although I think I really prefer the larger size. I think it offers a more dynamic smoke. The flavor profile changes up a little bit more, if memory serves, and just all in all, I thought it was a sort of a richer, just more enjoyable in the grand scheme of things. But that's not taking anything away from the smaller VSG. I did enjoy it nonetheless. So there you have it. Take this this short Ashes review for what it's worth. Again, I'm at the tail end of a cold, so I could smoke another one of these next week and find out that it tastes completely different, and my tastes were out of whack, even though they really don't seem it. So, oh, that little bit of a tinge in my throat. It's not there anymore. I don't know whether it was, and I don't really recall where it left. I guess it was shortly after I turned the camera off that last time. Things seemed to settle out and smooth out as the richness picked up of the smoke itself. So, again, enjoyed the cigar. I would definitely recommend it. I don't remember what the price point is on these. For the smaller side, it's probably $8, $9, something like that. But it's been a little while since I've actually picked up an Ashton VSG. So this is probably going to prompt me to get one next time in the shop. But there you have it. So until next, actually, I know what I have to smoke next week. I just don't remember. I don't recall the name of the cigar. Because of this cold and the one I had several weeks ago, I've really developed a backlog for reviews, and I've got to hammer out a few of them so that I can get caught up and fulfill some of my obligations. I told some people that I would review certain cigars, and I'm sort of falling back away from that, you know, having spent time cigar free so that I could get over the previous cold. And then a couple weeks later, what do you know, the cold that was going around the office made its way back around to me, and I wound up sick again. So now that the office is relatively healthy, hopefully I'll stay this way, and everything will fall back in place beginning next week. I want to thank Mike for filling in for me yesterday with his El Triunfador review. It was really, I didn't know what to produce yesterday. I still was feeling a little bit under the weather. I didn't want to do a full-blown cigar review, and I was running short on time, having spent most of the week, or actually all of the week, not smoking anything. So appreciate that, Mike. Thanks a lot. So that about does it. So until next week, happy smoking, and I will catch you later.